Canadians got a closer look at the candidates who are vying to be the next leader of the Conservative Party of Canada last night. For the first time, all 6 of them shared the stage in a televised English-language debate in Edmonton. They sparred over a number of issues. They launched some heated personal attacks, as had been expected. Janice McGregor is in Ottawa. She was watching closely. And Janice, we were wondering yesterday if this would be a repeat of what we saw at the unofficial debate last week. What did you think?
Well, I don't think it was as aggressive an outing for a lot of them as we had seen previously. I think the format that the debate organizers settled on, which was quite complicated, it may have been designed to constrain that. We heard, a lot of talking from the moderator, Tom Clark, particularly early on. He did a lot of short snapper type questions, some serious, some not really very serious, and it gave it a bit of a talk show vibe for the Conservative members who will ultimately decide this race. Pierre Poiliamo, though, probably made the biggest news early on when he turned a question about his approach to tackling inflation into an even bigger attack on the Bank of Canada than the ones he'd lobbed previously. Take a listen.
Money printing government deficits have caused more dollars chasing fewer goods, driving higher prices, and the Bank of Canada governor has allowed himself to become the ATM machine of this government. And so I would replace him with a new governor who would reinstate our low inflation mandate, protect the purchasing power of our dollar, and honor the working people who earn those dollars.
Viewers had to make it, though, 3/4 of the way through this debate to hear Jean Charest call Poiliamo out for that attack on an institution that in our system is meant to operate independently from political interference and barbs like that. Take a listen.
You hear that kind of a statement coming from a member of the House of Commons, you'd think you're in a third world country. We cannot afford to have any leader who goes out there and deliberately undermines the confidence in institutions.
This was our first opportunity to hear from Patrick Brown, who sat it out last week. He set himself apart, I think, in a number of ways. He was the only person who said he would support a no-fly zone over Ukraine when that came up, for example. He was also trying to bolster his credibility with the wing of this party that really opposed pandemic restrictions. Take a listen.
Let me be very clear. I was one of the only big city mayors in the country that didn't impose vaccine mandates. No firefighter, no police officer, no long-term city employee lost their job in Brampton. I stood by the right to have personal health choices. And I have to say, it's surprising during the leadership campaign that all of a sudden Pierre Poiliamo comes out against mandates, because in the heat of the battle, he didn't say a word. He was hiding in his basement at a time that I had longtime municipal employees in Ottawa calling me, asking for help. I give Roman Baber credit. He was there. He was heard. Dr. Lewis was heard. Disappeared.
So a pretty sharp attack there. Today is the annual March for Life anti-abortion protest on Parliament Hill. And so I also want to touch on the role abortion played in last night's debate. Most of the candidates, as they have in the last week or two, distancing themselves from that movement, saying they were pro-choice, that they wouldn't legislate on restricting abortion, all the while, though, trying not to alienate the social conservative wing of this party, whose votes candidates may eventually need to get over the top. It fell to Leslyn Lewis once again as the candidate who would speak for those who object to the fact that although individual abortion practitioners may restrict the kind of procedures they're willing to perform, there is no law on the books on abortion in this country. Take a listen.
I am pro-life, and women in Canada can have an abortion up until 9 months, and so there is no restriction on abortion. What we need to do is have conversations about what we believe in.
This is one of the problems that I see in our party today. We've become factions, and we don't listen to each other and respect each other as we debate ideas and differing opinions. Then Canadians will never trust us. And so this, to me, is about respect, and really I don't see a lot of that.
So, Janice, some of the key moments from the debate last night. Now, you mentioned format. It was unusual, and there's been a lot of reaction to us. Tell us more about that.
Yeah, a lot of people questioning some of this, in particular a section in the middle where the lightning round actually turned out to be a bit of a Proust questionnaire to get to know the candidates better. We have a montage here. They were asked what they're reading these days. Take a listen.
Most recent book that I've been reading has been about Russia.
I'm actually reading a book that Dennis Mills, former member of Parliament for Toronto Danforth, gave me on water.
Historically, I've loved, legal novels, the John Grisham books.
Well, Jordan Peterson's 12 Rules.
Shackleton's Way, it's about sacrificial leadership.
A friend suggested that I read David and Goliath.
So interesting to hear them weigh in on what they like on Netflix and their musical playlist choices. But this was a hard format for even the moderator to manage, cutting people off early on and then actually having leftover time at the end. There was a strange use of paddles in the one-on-one debate format where they only got to intervene so many times, and then people ran out of their chances to rebut with the paddles. So there was an awkward time at the end where people were slagging each other. But, a front runner like Polyamo couldn't respond to attacks against him because he'd already kind of used up all his paddles. And then, of course, there was that sad trombone sound they were using early on if you named one of your opponents, which a lot of people found to be an awkward aspect to constricting the debate. So we'll see if any of those things are reconsidered when they all do it again 2 weeks from now in Laval en français.